Okay, I'm live. Kind of live. Getting it all set up here, folks. Sorry for the bobbling around. Today is January 21st, 2019. It's a Monday. Noon, 12 noon Indiana time. 1,200 hours for you military types if you really need it. Federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day. It is 5 degrees where I'm at. I'm going to have a high of 12, it said. We'll see if it reaches it. It says it's going to be sunny. It does indeed appear to be sunny. We did not get the snowpocalypse that we thought we were going to get. In my area, we might have, on a stretch, gotten 2 inches. So the snow's not the big news, it's the cold. And it is chilly. A tad bit chilly. It makes running around naked outside just a little difficult to do. Not impossible, mind you, but difficult. So, just getting out for the first time today. Been doing some stuff around the house, keeping the fireplace going and such. Tell you what, if you don't have a fireplace and you have or if you have a fireplace but don't use it, you should really consider using it. They can be very charming. They do pretty good at heating if they're working right. We have a fireplace insert in ours, and I've got to get a new blower motor. The blower motor finally went out, but even without the blower motor, if we leave the doors open and stuff, we can get a considerable amount of heat on a not too hefty amount of wood, depending on what you're burning, of course. I mean, different woods burn at different temperatures and produce different amounts of heat, different BTUs. British thermal units, BTUs. If you didn't know what a BTU was, now you know. It is a British thermal unit. If you want to know how that works, use your favorite internet search engine and go look it up. Or pop out the old Encyclopedia Britannica and take a look, if you still have those laying around the house. I remember when I was a kid, boy, getting a set of encyclopedias was the bomb when I was a kid. My parents got them, and they had to sacrifice to get these encyclopedias. And you think about it, the whole world. We've got the whole world in a cell phone or an Apple Watch or whatever now, but back then, back in the day, we got a whole world, the entire known world, in a set of books that were about 6 yards long, placed side by side. I don't even know whether Encyclopedia Britannica is still in business. I would hope they are, but I'm sure that they've kind of increased their modernization. I presume they've become modernized and are, using some digital formats and stuff now. So, but I don't know that for sure. Like I said, I don't even know that they're still in business. The only reason I'm out today is because I have to run to my computer repair shop. I got a little computer repair shop. I've got to run up there and see if I can find some RAM. I've got an old Gateway 460E. I think it might be an M460E, but it's 460E laptop. It came with Windows XP. That tells you how old it is. But Windows XP, I took it off and I put a Linux operating system on there because I do like Linux, and it runs smoothly on older machinery as well as new machines. But if you've got an old laptop or old computer that you just can't work very well anymore, try putting Linux on it. Learn something new. It's not a hard system to learn. Get Ubuntu or something. I'm using Kali, putting Kali on mine right now, and I'll probably switch out 2 or 3 different flavors of distros. A lighter weight one would be Lubuntu, and I'll probably end up settling for that. But anyway, I'm playing with it. So I had Linux on there, and all of a sudden one day I looked at it and it just went belly up. Just crashed. I mean, crashed hard. Couldn't figure out what was wrong. Could not get any kind of Linux loaded to it whatsoever. Nothing. Kept getting kernel panic, and it kept telling me that the INTMFS something or other had corrupt data and stuff. And I burned several distributions of different types onto DVD and tried to boot them all, and none of them would boot. Could not for the life of me figure out what the problem was. Did a lot of research and tried this and configure that and so on and so forth. And back to basics of everything. I just happened upon a little tiny sentence on a website where this guy said, "Hey, you know, I had a bad RAM module. Replaced that and it fixed it." Well, that's one of the first things that I do when I've got a troubleshooting problem. Well, I guess maybe I don't replace them, but I do go in and I pop the back off and pull the RAM out and reseat it and make sure it's all good. Make sure it's seated in there well. Well, it turns out, in this case, I didn't do that originally, so I thought, stupid me. It's kind of like the first thing you do when you got a computer problem. What's the first thing you do? You reboot. But I've been guilty of trying to fix everything but that, and then a reboot would simply fix it. But anyway, I switched around the RAM modules, made sure they were good and seated, and I still could not get these things to fire up. Couldn't get anything installed. Kept getting this corrupt data thing. So I decided to, one of the discs I had was Lubuntu, a DVD for Lubuntu, and one of the options on there is a memory test, like the old MEM86 memory test. So I ran that, and it came back with billions of errors and all sorts of, well, what in the world is going on? So I've got two 1 gig chips in there. So I pulled out one 1 gig chip and ran the test in slot 0. Errors everywhere. So I ran it in slot 1, errors everywhere. Okay, so I swapped the chips. Took the first chip that I left in there, took it out, put the second chip in. Runs smooth as butter. Runs slow because it's only 1 gig. It's half the RAM size, but it ran, and I was able to install Linux and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going out to my shop today to try to find. I've obviously got a bad RAM chip, so I'm going to try to find a RAM chip at my shop somewhere, and I think I've got one. It's an old DDR2 666 or 667, and I think I've got one from an old machine I trashed just like the gateway that I'm using. I trashed one because it was just destroyed. The keyboard was gone, the monitor was gone. So I try to pull useful parts out of it and store those away. So I think I've got a RAM chip. Right now I've got Kali Linux loading onto this machine while I'm gone, and then when I get back I'll just put the extra RAM in it. It should just run faster than what it's running, but it can run on 1 gig of RAM. It just runs faster if you have more than one. So that's why I'm out and about today. Otherwise, I would be sitting at home tending the fire. Because I mean, I don't mind cold, but I don't really like cold. It's not like my favorite thing. But neither is extreme hot. One thing about cold is you can always put on more clothes and get warmer. But if it's too hot, there's not a doggone thing you can do much about being too hot. So I'm I'm just pulling up to the car wash, and I've got one of these little monthly pass things, and they've got the automatic arm and whatnot. And they got people lined up out to almost to the street in the automatic line, and none in the go get scanned line. So nobody says you have to use the automatic line if you have this pass. You just go up and just go up and get scanned and get in line. I don't know. It's I've seen the same thing at the self-checkouts at supermarkets and stuff. People will stand in the self-checkout lane, and there will be checkout lanes. They just stand there. Lemmings, but that's okay. Hey, listen, that's what's going on at this time in this place. Nothing real big, but leave me a comment. I'm getting ready to go through a call.